Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes. How lovely it was.
What is hip? Sound like Lenny Williams.
It's
Jeff, how you
actually,
doing?
it ain't Lenny Williams. It's Rick Stevens.
Oh, is that what?
No, no, no,
You got me here, man. Huh?
no. Actually, Rick had recorded the whole album, the second album.
That's right. But that was Lenny singing.
Yeah, but then after Rick went into the joint, Lenny re-recorded all the songs that Rick did.
That's right. But I was right. That was Lenny singing right now. That's
Oh
Lenny's
yeah,
voice. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
Um,
I signed these I signed these guys in 71 or two to
that's
Warner
right.
Brothers.
That's right. You had me thinking I made a mistake. First of all, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Are we rolling, or is this just
No, we're rolling. Today's January 1, 2021. Goodbye, 2020, brother. You're looking good, man.
thanks, man?
Yeah. So let's start this interview. First of all, thank you. And
Sure.
where'd you grow up, Jeff? Where you from?
The city.
That must be San Francisco, my hometown, where we left our
This
hearts. Okay.
in the Fillmore district.
Fillmore.
That's yeah.
Okay.
Born in St. Mary's
All
Hospital.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was born in a house on Chenery Street, but because I was poor, I was so poor I couldn't pay attention. But we'll talk about
We
you,
were
brother.
all poor in those days.
Okay. So,
Because go ahead.
no, you go ahead, brother. I'm
No,
interviewing
just
you.
because I'm Jewish doesn't mean I have a lot of money.
I'm Jewish too. And I don't have a lot of money. But anyway, Jeffrey, tell me about the music business. You've got
What
a
do you want
lot
to
of good
know?
stories. Tell us about how you got started in the music business.
Well, I was working at the Jack Tar Hotel uh, on Van Ness Avenue
That's right.
while I was going to City College, and I used to do the mornings. I used to go out to Phelan Avenue, right off of Ocean. That's where City was, and then about 12 o'clock, I'd get out of class and go down to the Jack Tar on Van Ness, and I do like 4 or 5 hours. But before that, sometimes I go down to a place called the Sandbox at the end of Van Ness. That's where Aquatic Park was.
Aquatic Park, I was going to say that. Yes.
Yeah, and I used to go down there and hear Carabello and all the guys playing the congas down there. It was great. I think that's where I met Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out
So
at Dolores Park first. They're out at Dolores Park, and then I guess they headed out there.
yeah,
Yes,
well, no telling where Michael was.
I
Michael
heard
was
that.
Michael was like a spider. He was here and he was there.
And everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, you met the guys out there.
Well, actually, I was working there as a bellboy, and George Moscone and the Burton boys used to get their haircuts upstairs in the mezzanine, and I got to be pretty good friends with George, and George wanted me to go take him to see Stan Getz one night, so we went out to the both and then a couple weeks later he says, I want to see this group called Ike and Tina Turner. And I says, okay. So we go down to the show, and the place is so small that the band was playing in the first two rows, and only Ike and Ike and Tina were on the stage. It was such a small place. And George says, can you introduce me to Tina? And I went, I don't think so. I says, you see that guy standing next to her? I says, that's her husband, man. It's Ike Turner. And now he's the senator of California. So it's like, powerful guy, I says, no, I don't think so, George, And George is George liked to have a good time. He used
Okay.
to, yeah. He was playing with fire,
I heard that.
gunfire, gunfire.
Yes.
Yeah, Ike was crazy. Great
Wow.
musician,
Right.
great musician.
Yes, he was.
And one of his fortes was he would teach all the iCats and Tina the moves, a lot of their moves, because he used to watch what the Temps and the Four Tops and some of the Motown bands used to do. So Ike was a great piano player too, besides guitarist.
Oh, wow. Yes, he was
Yeah.
talented. Yes.
Oh yeah. No. He wrote a song called Delta 88. It might be one of the first rock and roll songs of all time. Just nobody knows those
Uh-huh.
things, you know. But yeah, he was great. And later on, uh, when I went to work, well, actually, how I got in the record business was George knew Herb Alpert, and George set me up with an appointment to meet with some of his staff. And he says, "I'm going to get you a job," because he just loved the music. I was taking him, showing him. He says, you got to get it out of this, being a bellboy stuff. So I went down to Charlie Chaplin Studios in L.A., and that's
Okay.
with A&M Records, and they hired me that day. That's how I got in the record business. Really simple. And in those days, I got a chance to go in to meet Herb Alpert and his partner Jerry Moss, and I went into Alpert's office, and George Benson was sitting on the couch, and Antonio Carlos Jobim and George Benson,
Wow.
Quincy Jones, George Benson, Antonio Carlos Jobim, and one of their main writers, his name was Paul Williams,
Wow.
and he
Yes,
wrote
the
a
little
lot
guy.
of hits with. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
guy
little
went
short
on and he
guy.
was yeah, he was shorter than I was. I loved him. Yeah, he went on to play in the Planet of the Apes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I started promoting a lot of labels in those days, and A&M was one of them.
That was
And
A&M was for Albert Moss, right?
Albert Moss,
Right.
Jerry
Okay.
Moss,
Okay, got it.
right? So some of the other labels, well, actually, some of the great bands that he had, Tijuana Brass was really popular,
Yes.
really hot. But he had just signed Sergio Mendes in Brazil '66. And I used to see Sergio's first band. He used to come into the Matador, and he used to play there, and used to play at the Trident with this great band. He had the first band that he ever had. He had a woman named Wanda de Sá. She was like 22 years old. She was great voice. She could sing in Portuguese and English, and they had a flamenco guitarist named Rosalia de Valencia. So Sergio had a loaded band, and they were great to watch. I mean, that's where the Matador was the place to go. That's where I used to go with Carlos, and I used to go with Michael, and
Mhm.
we go hear a guitar player named Gabor Szabo. And Gabor wrote Gypsy '66. And if you listen to Abraxas or check the credits, the second half of Black Magic Woman is called Gypsy '66. And he had a lot of influence on Carlos as a guitarist. Um, the other guy that really had the influence was Miles Davis, because I knew all the guys in the band. Not so much Carlos, because he was living with Stan Markham
Hey.
in those days. That was the manager. But I tried to get him to sign our label, to sign him, and the guy come up and he says, "I heard Tito Puente before. They don't impress me." And I went, "That's not Tito Puente. That's a different animal up there. That's animalism, you know." And they never saw anything like that.
Wow.
So actually, Carlos they used to start off all their shows with "In a Silent Way," which was a Miles Davis song. But actually, the band got their original sound from the Butterfield Blues Band. See, because of Mike Bloomfield and those guys. See, they were looking for a sound, and when Michael came in with Chipito, that gave them the percussion. And then of course Greg had already been in there, and Greg was a big jazz. He was really good jazz organist. That's good musician, and then I'm not sure who brought Shreves in, but Shreves was a good drummer too, as far
Right.
as picking up on all that stuff, and of course David Brown from the Projects. He brought in the James Brown licks. So basically, you had one of the first integrated bands ever. You had Puerto Rican, Nicaraguan, you had 3 white guys, you had a Mexican and Carlos, and David Brown. And
Yeah.
so it was like nobody ever heard that.
Yeah.
But it was the Santana Blues Band first,
Right.
before it was anything.
Very good. Yeah. So defining the band, the music that had the most impact in you. And who would you say
Well,
that?
I think the first band actually came before Santana was Sly and Family Stone,
Wow.
and another integrated band,
Right.
but he had women. He had his sisters, and then he
Yeah.
had Cynthia playing the trumpet, and then he had Gregorico,
Right.
Daly City, San Francisco,
Yes.
one of the great funkiest drummers ever. And of course, he had Larry Graham on bass. He had his brother playing rhythm guitar. Freddie.
Yeah.
Freddie's a pastor up here in Vallejo.
Okay.
But once I heard them, I went, my God, because I'd never heard anything like that. I mean, Sly was a great entertainer.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was a great entertainer. He was a great songwriter, and he knew how to make it work. And he didn't care who was in the band or what color or nothing. It was just said, he had a sound, and it worked.
Yeah. They gel.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, but it's like they brought him out to City College. That's where I first heard him, and I went, holy shit.
Well, he
No,
was a
they were.
DJ on KSOL before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was also a good producer. He produced "Laugh Laugh" by the Beau Brummels, and
Right. Yeah.
he produced "A Swim" and "Do You Want to Dance" by Bobby Freeman.
Bobby Freeman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of Fremont.
Wow.
And yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
No.
But Sly was a genius. He was a music genius. He produced and he wrote, he played, he changed the whole thinking of people with his music. It was just that time. It was in the Vietnam War,
Right.
and he was talking about social issues, flat out, and I just went, wow.
He was one of my favorite DJs. He really was back in the day. I used to listen to him, and he'd get on. He had his own jingle, singing Sly Stone, and then he had the dedication. I was a soul brother then. And I even tried buttermilk, and I couldn't stand it. But loved his show, and yeah. But
I consider Sly up there with Ray Charles, Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder, Prince. Who else? Curtis Mayfield. And I was lucky to work with Curtis when I first started the business, when he had just left the Impressions.
Right. Wow.
And So, there's a mountaintop of greatness, man. And to me, those are a few of the guys that, why? Because they like, they played, they arranged, they sang, they wrote great songs,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Last January, I was out in Memphis. I went to Stax. It's a museum now. And
Yeah.
Curtis Mayfield's Cadillac is there. It is so beautiful. They have it in that museum and it's turning around. It's such a beautiful car. Have you been there in Memphis, the
Yeah.
Stax a museum?
Yeah. No, I have not. I'd
Oh,
love
you
to go
got to
down there.
go there, brother. You got to check it out. I'm going back there this year sometime. I was planning to go in January, but this pandemic messed it all up. But I'll be going back there, and yeah, I got photos. I got to share them with you, brother. It's all in front. It's all gold plated and everything. It's amazing. It's just the ultimate pimp machine, pimp mobile, green color and gold. Oh, it's fabulous, man. I don't
Green
know
and Bobby Gold.
yeah, here you go. But anyway, talk
But
about
I went down to I went down to Memphis, and when I first started, I also had Al Green on our label,
wow.
and
So
we went down to Memphis, and we had a party on a paddle wheeler, and we went down to Mississippi, and Al Green performed for us.
wow. Well, I
Yeah,
happened to go to Royal Studios where he did all his recordings.
High
Willie Mitchell,
Records.
Willie, yeah,
Willie Mitchell,
Willie Mitchell,
Boots
man.
Randolph. Yeah,
Oh man, they rolled out the red carpet for me there. I went in the
yeah.
studio. It was amazing. Pretty much everybody from the studio was in. That was last January. They're all at the Grammys, and Mrs. Mitchell texts me, says, "Bobby, go on out. This guy by the name of Willie Bean is going to open the door for you." He sure enough did, and it was amazing. I got so many photos. They're going to love all Al Green's albums everywhere. And Bruno Mars just made a hit song there, I guess, 2 years before that. So they gave Willie Mitchell also a Grammy. And it's just
Well
amazing.
deserved. Well deserved.
Yes,
No,
yes.
he was a top producer. He knew talent. Obviously, finding Al Green and the way that he promoted and
Yeah,
marketed him. You know,
yeah, amazing. The Mad Lads, all their recruitings there, the Barcades and everything, just as well as
yeah.
Stax Records, Carla Thomas, Rufus Thomas. It just, man, it was a place
Otis,
to go.
Otis Redding,
Otis Redding,
Sam
yes.
and David,
The
Book,
Barcade, oh, yes.
Booker T, Booker
MG,
Booker T.
yes. Well, you had him. Well, let's go with Dr. Gonzalez at the Bimbos. Tell us about that. When you worked with Doc.
Um, well, Vernon Black was our musical director for the second Voices of Latin Rock.
Okay.
And I said, who can see what when we started? This is really for Latin rock bands and Latin pioneers like Dolores Huerta and Richie Valens family. And so I said, why don't we open it up to the whole era? Doesn't have to be Latin rock bands because we're going to run out here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So Vernon he was our musical director that year.
Wow.
And so he says, how about if I get you Booker T? And I went, okay, that's a good start. I go, who else? And he goes, I'll get to Lenny Williams. I says, that's 2 for 2. I says, that's great. So we had, I remember Carlos playing with his kid, Salvador. Played one song, was one of Salvador's songs. And, everybody, yeah, great. And nobody was screaming. Booker walked across the stage and the place stood up and gave him a standing ovation.
Yes.
It was heartwarming. It was kind of like when Rick Stevens came and performed for his first time after he got out of jail.
Yes.
And he walked on stage, and man, it sends chills through you, because you know the story is quite compelling. And Rick said to me, man, because he was home, man, he was back on the stage,
Yes.
you know, which he actually loved doing. And that was one of the highlight moments of all the shows, of all 10 year shows. I mean, there was a lot of great moments. I mean, I got to hand it to Dr. Bernie and Ron Sanso and McCarthy, Jim McCarthy,
Yes.
and Rita Gentry and Gina Ross and Sam Toda. You know, they were there all 10 years. You know, and this was really something. I mean, you know what I think we pulled off. But you know, we even had one night we had Jackie Green playing, and Los Lobos was the headliner. And Jackie Green, you know, the hot little guitar player, singer songwriter out of Sacramento, he sang "I'm in Love with a Mexican Girl." I don't know if you remember that, but anyway, nobody knew who this guy was. He's huge, you know, he's really big, very successful. And he just sat in the back upstairs, and everyone was going, "Who's that little kid?" Because he's very young looking. I says, "Man, wait till you hear this guy play." So Los Lobos asked him to play with them. So at the end of the show, they're unplugging their instruments, and in walks George Clinton with Sly.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. And George jumps right up on stage and just goes right into Tear the Sucker Down, and he grabs Sly and he pulls him up on stage, and Sly's starting to do his thing. "I'm gonna take you higher." Well, they had unplugged their organ, so as soon as Sly found that out, he walked to the front of the stage, because he's weird.
Right.
Sly straight. He don't like being up on stage like that. You know, if he's not in his element, you know, he gets a little weird, like he did the Grammys. He walked right off stage in the middle of it. And so he jumped off, he never jumped nowhere. He climbed down the front of the stage and walked through the crowd out to his car. It looked like the parting of the Red Sea. Everybody was going like this.
Yeah.
Oh man, they couldn't believe it was Sly.
Yeah,
Because
I
Sly
remember that.
didn't, you know,
It was so weird. I think it was high.
yeah.
Can I say that? I remember that night. It was so strange. Yes, but that's Sly Stone.
Yeah, he jumped in it. Yeah, that's Sly Stone. You know,
Didn't he
he
have his
jumped
bus
into
outside?
he had a van,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that George's manager drove, locked the doors, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. But that, you know, we had some incredible moments. I mean, you know, we had the original Santana band outside of David. You know, the core. You know, Shreves, Rowley, Michael Carabello. We had Neil, the first show that we did, and then Neil and Carlos. Neil played, then we took a break, and then Carlos came back and played the second and third song, and did Soul Sacrifice.
Yes. Well, I was there for the 10 years. I was handing out the books,
I remember.
Voices of Latin Rock, and then the programs for the next years. I got a lot of money. I got people to donate.
Yeah,
they were quite generous. Yeah, people were quite generous with the donations for the books. Hey, how much are they? Well, it's donation. $2, whatever. People give me $2, $5, $10, $20. Some people writing checks for $100. It was wonderful. We had a
fabulous
time.
They it was an event. It was special, you know. I mean, it was like an Ali Frazier fight. You know, cats were dressed up, and you
Oh
know
yes.
they they were the characters were
Oh
all
yes.
out, man.
Oh yes.
It
Sure
was really
was.
something.
To me, I call that an
Yeah.
excuse just for us to get together like a reunion, just like the boxing matches, you know.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was great, man.
No,
I
it was.
loved it.
Yeah, that was something, and it went to a great cause for autism awareness. You know, the bands, they all played for nothing. You know, I mean, we took care of expenses. You know, probably um, the family of oh, Richie Valens family, but whatever. You know, we put them up, and you know, it's. But most of the time, the musicians played for nothing, and that
That's yeah,
doesn't happen a lot.
right. Well,
You know, and we
yeah.
saw some of the greatest Latin rock bands.
Well, I had an
You know,
opportunity
Ma,
to meet Richie's sisters.
father.
No,
Oh yeah.
the sisters, and I have a picture with the two of them. They had told me that their daughters played their parts in the movies. The two little girls that were supposed to be the sisters, that's where their
Yeah.
daughters. That's what they told me. And then
Wow.
I did a show out in I emceed a show out in Watsonville, California, back in June 24th, I guess a couple of years ago, and ran into Bob, his brother,
Um,
the one who was in
I
the
mean,
movie. Who played that, Renee?
aside Morales.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
he passed away, I guess, on us about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was so cool, man, you know. And yeah, he was cool. Bob, man. I got pictures with them and had a nice conversation with him. And but I didn't see them. I didn't get a chance to meet the family at the Latin Rock. But we had
I'm
we
gonna tell
had
you something.
yeah, go ahead.
They were really grateful. They were really touched by the fact that we honored them.
Yeah.
Because you know, as time goes by, you forget about certain artists. You know, just like you know, people don't remember how great Sam Cooke was, or
Yeah.
Jackie Wilson, or people, or even Sammy Davis Jr. Because as time goes on, you don't, if you don't see him now, you go, oh, well, you don't remember him, you know, like you used to.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. But I still live back in the 50s and 60s. I'm stuck there accidentally, but I'm trying to do something myself. They got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm trying to start the Oldies but Goodies Hall of Fame. I think of those people all the time. You know, the Bobby Days, the Jewel Akins, Eugene
Yeah,
Churches, all of these Rosie and Originals, and all these
yeah,
people were friends of mine.
very
You know, the
good.
Platters, and it's not too many of them still living. In fact, I'll be interviewing Leon Hughes of the Coasters, the only coaster living, and I'm
Wow.
working on Sonny Turner, the only Platter that's left. You know, he took Tony Williams' place. He just
Uh-huh.
lost his wife a couple of months, about a month ago. So, you know, he's in mourning right now. But yeah, so
Well, no, listen, you know, music changes, but there'll always be there's always a new wave, you know.
yes,
There's this girl, her name is Gabby Wilson. Gabby's, her name on is Her, her. You hip to her? Are
no,
you hip to her?
no, but you'll
No.
hit me to it.
Well,
You'll hit me to
she
her.
won. No, no, no. She won 2 Grammys. She's from Vallejo.
Okay.
She's about 22 now. She's the hottest new artist out there. She's up for a Grammy. She just beat out Beyonce for BET Awards, I think it was. But Alicia Keys, she met Alicia Keys at the BET Awards, And Alicia, she walked right up to Alicia. She was 14 years old and said, I'm a big fan. Alicia goes, do you play any instruments? And she says, yeah, I play 4. I play drums, I play the guitar, I play the bass, and I play the keyboards. And,
Wow.
and Alicia Keys goes, well, play a song you want. So she sang a Alicia Keys song. Alicia Keys, you want to sing with me tonight at the BET Awards? And by the end of the night, Alicia Keys saying, hey, I want to sign you.
Wow.
Yeah, she's the biggest new thing. In fact, she came out to Fairfield. We did a fundraiser for breast cancer, and she sang with Rick Stevens. And Rick goes, I don't know any of your songs. And he goes, no, I want to play bass on What Is Tip. And she kicked ass. She's great. She's a phenom. What a sweetheart, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what you got planned for 2021?
Well, January 23rd, we have a live stream show with the fantastic Negrito from Oakland.
Okay.
Write
that down.
Negrito,
I'll get it later from you.
Yeah, the fantastic. He's won 2 Grammys for Best Contemporary Blues Album in 18 and 19, and he's up for a 3rd a week after our show. So this guy he's like a combination Lenny Kravitz meets Sly meets Prince.
Wow.
He's from the streets of Oakland, man, and he is really something.
We gotta collaborate on show. We got to get something going like the Voices of Latin Rock, that we can have year after year after year, where people are going to be begging us, hey, well, we can do another one, We got to do something like that. I got some great acts out in LA that we got to bring up, man.
Talk to Bernie. No. Listen, dude, me personally, I have a company called Trager Presents, and we're going to be doing everything from live streaming to live shows. We're going to do some drive-in shows out at the Solano County Fairgrounds. We have a confunction plan on Valentine's Day. So if you go to FT Presents, you can see all the shows. But we just did Lenny Williams about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we showed it again last night.
All right. Right, it's great. So,
yeah. So that's last year before last, Mare Island's got a place called Vino Godfather, and
right.
I brought in Pete Escovedo. I brought in Tom Brown from Funkin' in Jamaica. I brought in Lenny Williams and Bobby Caldwell.
Right.
Sold out every single show, 450 plus. It was that Mare Island is going to be the next hot spot.
We started again.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what I got coming. I mean, I'm working on a lot of things. I'm doing the Juneteenth festivals for Vallejo. Hopefully we'll have one this year. I don't know. June's coming up. Got to prepare for it. You just don't know when they're going to let us back in. And I was going to do the first one. I was going to do Fairfield's first one too. So yeah, I got a lot of things going on, man. all of a sudden here I am 77 years old and I'm going, oh man, I got a whole bunch to do. Which, hey man, I'll take it.
No. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you for the memories. And this is part 1, brother. We're going to do part 2 because there's so much for us to talk about. And it was great, man. I love you, brother. And
I enjoyed it, Bobby.
I work with you, and I'm going to say thanks for the memories.
Oh, one other thing. We're going to do Los Moscosos.
Yes.
Los Moscosos. Yeah, we're going to do a show with them in March.
Yeah, I'll be there with my buddy, the manager.
What's
You
his
know what I'm
name?
talking about, John? Lalo. Maurice, yeah,
Lalo.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's a good guy, man. He's having a little health problems,
Great.
but pray for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Big heart, man.
big heart,
Big
brother.
heart. Big
Well,
heart.
love you, brother. Jeffrey, it was great.
Thank you.
And
Okay, Bobby.
we'll be in touch, man. Thank you so very much. We're
Okay.
signing off, man. God bless you.
Hey, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. This is the first day. Oh, we got to stay healthy, brother. We're going to beat this COVID-19. God bless you. We're out of here.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Part 2.
All right.
I'll call you and we'll get together, man. You're looking great, though.
You got it.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye, bro.
Bye-bye.
Okay. That was Jeff Trager. First day of the year. All right. Thank you, everybody, for the memories. Sponsored by Casa Sanchez and Eagle Pawn Shop, San Francisco Mission Street. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I don't know. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes.